Here we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. What day is it? It's March 12th. Wow, man, time just marches on. Marches on. So I'm here with Rachelle Mathios and Patrick O'Sullivan. Welcome.
Hello.
Patrick's a student doctor working with me this month and taking a deeper dive into lifestyle medicine. So glad to have you here, Patrick. And today, we've been feeling it this week, right, Patrick? I don't know about
100%.
you. But Patrick said not once, not twice.
My time didn't change.
Oh, you live in Arizona.
That's a big perk.
Yeah,
It's a big perk. And I'll tell you, it's a relief though, because all my work with folks in Oregon has been I don't math that well. It's hard math when you're trying to convert time. It doesn't seem like it should be. I'm a real smart gal, but time change is difficult. So I'm grateful that we're all on the same
and what we're talking about today is sleep and how the time changed because we sprang forward or sprung, whatever past perfect verb tense that is. We did it in an hour, and man, I'm wiped out. Yeah, Patrick. Tell how's it affected your? Yeah.
I think it affects more. I think the topic that's worth talking about is just sleep quality, and I think it one of the most important things we emphasize in medical school, and I'm sure as physicians, is having a routine. And it really matters when you go to bed. When matters as well, but having that routine set in stone, having what you'd call good sleep hygiene with respect to your overall health, your mood, your everything throughout the day, your energy levels. It's so important. And I've really tried to hone my sleeping routine, and I think anything like this, even an hour, it doesn't sound like much, but it ends up affecting a lot, especially if you're pretty in your routine. So I've been slugging all week.
Definitely. It's like being jet lagged for a little bit. So and I've had a double whammy. Last week I mentioned my neck was hurting me, and sleep is it's been hard. I have not been sleeping as well as I usually do. I take sleep for granted, I think. And so the neck issue and then the time change is like a double whammy for me. So we want to talk about sleep again and how important it is that sleep is medicine. And a lot of us, I think, we had a new analogy this week,
The
Patrick.
car.
Yeah, the car analogy, and where I can't remember where that came up, where that came from. Somebody, I can't remember. Maybe you can. And that probably has to do with me not sleeping super well. But it was like the tires on the car, and you're kicking. You want your tires to be properly inflated, or your car to go well. Now, will your car go? Will it will work with a little slow leak in a tire? Sure. But is it going to wear and tear, well? And so we were talking about what the different wheels kind of represent: nutrition, movement, stress management. And one of the wheels is sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that analogy because we know a car can run with poor tires. It will run, it will go, but not very far, not very efficient. It's dangerous. It's not a comfortable ride. If all four tires are inflated differently, or one's leaking, or one's, bald, your steering wheel's pulling to one end. I mean, I can see how that analogy we can grow it. And how people take their tires for granted in a car, right?
Yeah.
I don't think about my tires very often at all. I mean, if I see one is flat, but that's only if it's on the driver's side. If it's on the passenger side, those tires don't even exist to me. I don't even know they're there. Right? And that's the same with our health. We can take some of them for granted because they just kind of go. but what's the impact long term to my car if I'm driving with bad tires?
Yeah.
Great analogy, guys. I like it.
Yeah, thanks. And I think sleep is one of those things that, we don't give a lot of credence to as to how important it is. Yeah.
I think one of the things that surprised me most about getting into medicine clinically and actually getting out in the world and not being in textbooks all day and talking to patients, it's one of the things that I noticed the most that slips first when someone's stressed, busy. It's not heavily prioritized. It's usually, if I need, and sometimes it's for good reason. We've met tons of patients that sacrifice a little sleep in the morning because they want to get their hour of exercise in. So it's hard as a clinician to say, hey, like, I love that you're exercising. It's so important, but also you're losing, if you're getting 5 hours of sleep, and you're kind of burning the candle at both ends.
Right.
Yeah. It's hard to balance it.
Why do you think that is, Patrick, from your experience, just as a person, but also as a medical student? Why do you think that is that people discount their sleep, don't prioritize? They know more about food and exercise, it seems like they know that's what they feel more convicted about. But sleep, what is it, do you think, from your experience?
Gosh, I mean, it's so dependent on the person. But I think for a lot of people that are dialing everything in, they're getting their exercise under control. They're eating the things that they want to eat that are nourish their bodies and keep them healthy. Usually they're more, their stress is better. They're working a lot, and I think a lot of it comes down to, is there enough hours in the day? And what Julie and I have been doing with patients is going through their day on an hour by hour basis. When do you wake up? What are you doing? What are you putting in your mouth? How are you exercising? When do you work? And we're trying to figure out where are the hours that are efficient and where are we a little less efficient? What can we micromanage? And I think, oftentimes what happens with really busy people is they just get to the point where, at the end of the day, I've noticed this at least in my own life as well. By about 7 p.m. is when I start to wind down. I've done my exercise. I've done my work for the day. I've studied, I've eaten, I've taken care of all the things. And it's like, that's the time when I can sit down with my significant other and relax and either watch a TV or have a conversation or do what I'm doing. And then before I know it, it's 9:30 or 10. And it's, okay, I've lost my hour of sleep because I wanted to be in bed at 9, darn it.
Yeah.
So I think that happens to a lot of people.
It's the me time.
The me time ends up leading into it.
I've heard it described as revenge sleep or revenge, right? So, and I've heard people say like, that's my time. And they know they should go to bed, but they also really desperately want this time as a reward for everything they've suffered through in the day, the struggles of the day. And so it's kind of like getting back at something, right? It's like stealing time of the day. Like, this is mine. And it becomes kind of this self-sabotaging, and we see the saboteur show up in a lot of our lives. But that's one of those ways where we're just trying to squeeze a little bit more of time for me because the rest of the day was given everywhere else.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's so true. Well, I've been thinking, about some of the stories that we've been hearing about people not going to sleep. And some people are truly night owls. They're truly night owls. And that might be a real good thing to jump into, the difference. Maybe next time we can talk a little bit about that. What is their physiology there? What's the difference between a morning person and a night owl?
And
chronotypes.
What's the true percentage of that? I'd love to. I mean, I know that Dr. Gilbert, you and I have read in some of our sleep books that the percentage of the human population is very quite low that are actual sleep, owls. But Patrick, you were talking about doing some research, and so maybe we can.
We can get back to. I mean, I think chronotypes is like one of the more interesting parts of sleep research that's kind of emerging now. And what is your chronotype? Are you, if left to your own devices, when do you get tired? When do you, as long as you're in sync with the cycle of the day, you're seeing sunlight and stuff. Some people, even if they're perfectly in sync, they don't really have their melatonin spike until later in the day, and that's when they start to get tired and wind down. And there's a lot of interesting evolutionary discussion around the people that would stay up later at night in our tribal times and watch out over people while the others slept, and the people who woke up early.
That's right.
So there's a lot
and
of
maybe that
interesting
DNA is handed down generationally. Interesting. Okay, that's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so getting people, so, sometimes we limit ourselves just by our beliefs, though, and to say, about the me time, about I'm a night owl, or maybe, I can't sleep. I'm an insomniac. I can't, and that becomes part of my identity, So
Mhm.
I've heard that too. I've tried everything. I can't sleep.
Mhm.
And then also some people don't want to go to sleep because they don't want to face tomorrow, so there's a lot of different things at play here,
Mhm.
that that detract or from prioritizing sleep. And
I think our culture does that too. If we're kind of talking about the things that sort of get into our way or cause that story about sleep, I think our culture does not praise sleep. We hear things like burning, oh, you're burning the candle at both ends, or you can sleep when you're dead, or
Mhm.
these. And if you go to work and you say, oh, I was up until 3 a.m. working on this project, people are like, wow, you're cool. You're so important, right? There's kind of like, we praise these people who don't sleep because they're just go, 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 because they must be successful. They must be better than us. And they must be very important, and I think we have some cultural stuff there that makes sleep not cool. If you go to bed early, you're like an old person, you're like, what's wrong with you? You're so boring,
Right.
And for me personally, I grew up kind of feeling I was a night owl, and into my 20s and 30s kind of like adhered to that and kind of made sure it was the truth, and then I finally realized that's dumb. I love sleep and I do so much better when I sleep. And now I'm like, call me a granny. I don't care. 8:30, bed. Bring it. But then I love to be up at like 4:30 or 5. And I'm like, ooh, because I've slept well. And now I can capture the day. So, but I do think it's worth it, as you're talking, Dr. Gilbert, about the story that we believe and what we've told ourselves. What's the culture feeding you? And have you bought into that? Do you kind of have some sort of a barrier to
Right.
acknowledging that sleep is so useful and doing it?
Right. So sometimes I think that we don't realize, and I think we've used this word in the past, Rachel, and I know it's come up in conversation, Patrick, with some of our patients recently, but this idea of finitude.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that we are actually human beings and with needs. And one of those needs is sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's,
We're limited.
we are, and we talk a lot with patients about respecting that part, coming back to realizing that, you don't have to fight the parts that make you human. You can take 15 to 20 minutes to relax and have a meal, settle in for the night and have a good sleep, and respect those parts of you that are important, that make you human, that ground you. It's often something we don't like. We like we were saying earlier, it's the grind set that can get in the way, that grind mindset that, you have to be working.
I haven't heard that
6 hours.
before. Patrick, say that again. I haven't heard that word.
Oh, the grind set.
The grind set.
Yeah, it's it's that mindset that I think what Rachel was saying is it's really pushed in our culture. It's the hey, like if I'm sleeping 5 hours a night because I stayed up late to finish a project or do what I'm doing, for my business or for my family or whatever it is, that you're getting ahead by taking advantage of the time that other, maybe lazy people are sleeping. But I would reframe that as, you're borrowing time from your health, that's ultimately what you're doing. And sleep is so important. It's the time in the day that we recover.
And we're paying a price. When you said we're borrowing, I do think it's worth pointing out and really emphasizing that there is a cost. And while you may have convinced yourself that you do fine with 4 hours of sleep, I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm fine with 4 to 5. And I'm like, I don't think you are. I don't think you are. You might think you are. And a lot of people can get used to functioning, but now what we've done is we've traded out a higher optimal living for this new norm, right? The new norm in our culture is kind of like everyone's tired, everyone's foggy, no one feels good, everyone's sleepy, no one's sleeping well. And that's like the norm. So that's normal. And then so we've traded out, right? We've traded down. But there is a cost, and whether you're recognizing it in the day-to-day or whether your body's kind of paying, some sort of toll internally, which of course we can't see always.
Right. Because it shows up. It really shows up. It shows up in our bodies. I'm thinking about, I'm going back to our a car, and sometimes there's a light that shows up that says low tire, so yes, it shows up, and it'll show up in our labs, for example, in our blood pressure. In our insulin sensitivity. In our cortisol. So it shows up in a way that is subtle at first, but in time, you're right, it does take a toll. So I want to take a deeper dive into sleep again. I know we've talked it about before, but it's so important. So it's time to talk about it again. I just feel for people who have, chronic pain and maybe just don't look forward to sleep because they know it's going to be a struggle. So right now, so I'm doing everything I can, including I bought a new pillow, a different pillow.
Good. Yeah.
To see if that helps. But anyway, so we're going to talk about this for a couple of weeks, at least for the next 2 weeks. And Patrick is going to kind of lead us through, and we'll hear what he has to say about.
I'll do my due diligence.
Yeah.
Good. And can we offer a few, I'm talking to a lot of clients right now, of course, who are suffering with sleep because of the recent time change. And if I might just offer a couple of suggestions, because, we'll talk about this next week, but now that's a whole week from today. And some helpful things that we've been discussing in groups and in one-on-one coaching is really just utilizing and kind of capitalizing on this opportunity to come back to your sleep hygiene. Patrick, you mentioned it at the beginning of the call, coming back to the basics. Because, we can be floating along with the normal time and feeling like we're doing okay, but maybe our sleep hygiene is not great, but it's normalized. Well, I think the time change is kind of puts everything into, if your sleep hygiene hasn't been great, now it's really bad. And so this is an opportunity to come back to the basics, right? So like you were saying, Patrick, go to bed at the same time and wake up every morning at the same time. So maybe for those of you listening, could over the next couple days, maybe for the next 3 or 4 days, could you plan on going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time to sort of force your body to do that switch and to do it more quickly? I had a patient say, it's going to take me 3 or 4 weeks to adjust. And I thought, it doesn't have to take that long. We can do that faster, right? By paying attention to eating times, your eating patterns, by paying attention to the low lights in the evening, turning those lights down a little bit, cool bedroom. What other suggestions would you guys offer as ways to kind of help people try to get that switch happening more rapidly?
I would make sure that I'm not ramping up my caffeine in order to fill in the gap for that low energy that I felt because of the poor sleep that I had. So keep your caffeine level the same, or maybe even, and then make sure you have a caffeine curfew. And I would say at least 10 hours before your planned bedtime. So a caffeine curfew, a food, a kitchen curfew, alcohol for sure. And then a screen curfew.
Those are good tips. I found for me, when I've talked to patients about sleep, the hardest time is the morning for most people. It's the getting out of bed. And if you're trying to adjust your sleep time, oftentimes you have to kind of increase your sleep pressure. And there are 2 great ways of doing that. One is to pick a wake up time that you would be happy with, that you would think would be a good wake up time, and stick to it for a week. Because if you're going to bed, if you want to wake up at 6 a.m. and you're having a heck of a time getting to bed before midnight, you might just have to wake up at 6 a.m. for a few days and lose a few hours of sleep, and that's hard, but it'll increase your pressure and allow you to go to bed at
So
9:30
true.
or 10.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a great way of
Yeah.
doing it. Stick to
Yeah.
your wake up time. And another
Yeah.
way is exercising, going for walks, doing things to tire your body out so that when you get to bed at 10, instead of laying up at night and staring at the ceiling and wondering about your tomorrow, the sleep pressure will be strong enough that it's like, oh, I want to go to bed. Like it's time.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So good.
Good ones.
Okay. So what time are you going? We're gonna change it up. And what are you eating, or what's for dinner? Like, what time are you going to bed tonight? What's your bedtime tonight? Only. What's your bedtime? Rachel, what's your 9:30? Okay, we'll hold you to it.
Yeah, I like to have my lights out.
8:30.
I'm 9:32. Lights are out at 9:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm falling asleep at 9. So I'm in bed maybe 8:30 or 9, reading. You know, kind of. So how about you?
Yeah. I like to hit the sheets at 8:30, and then lights out, Alice, 9:30.
Yeah.
Good.
When I sleep, I go for the gold. It's like an Olympic sport for me.
It's true. It's true. And I'm like, don't nobody step on my sleep. You know, I'm like very protective of it. Like when my kids are texting me, I'm like, no, it's 8:30. You can't text me at 8:30. They're like, Mom, we got to talk. No, I'm sorry. I don't want any stimulation. I don't want you to tell me some news that I'm like going to get all. No. See you tomorrow.
Good.
Bye. Yeah. All right. Good sleep.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. You have really good boundaries around that. That's very good. I know. Yeah, that's good. My kids text me, Mom, are you still awake?
Yeah,
Are you
Mom.
still awake?
Yeah.
And if I followed my sleep hygiene and plugged my phone into the other room.
That's always a good one too.
Yeah, charge
Put
it.
the phone in another room.
Then I'm good. I'm
And you're
good.
good.
If I don't follow my protocol, then I might be texting.
Right. Tempted. Yeah.
All right. So good. All right. Well, thank you both. We'll look forward to continuing this conversation for the next couple of weeks. And happy to have Patrick do the deep dive.
Awesome.
And, and until then, sweet dreams, people.
Sweet dreams, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.